Hey, everybody. Okay, so I am not in my car driving. Yay. Okay, I want to try an experiment on y'all today. So, my book is done. I'm very excited about it. I know the name will be Lioness. Now, what the subtitle is, that's the $1,000,000 question. And I'm going to try something right now, and I'm trying to figure out if it works. I want to read part of my manuscript to you guys, and I want your comments, but I've got to move over on the screen. So I want to see if I'm still live. I think I am. And I want to read to you guys the prelude to my book. And then I want some of the greatest minds that I know out there. Now that like you hear the official, right? You hear the official, what the book's about. You guys have heard me talk about it. It's about legacy. You'll see my posts now. It's about legacy. When you have a certain birthday, you start thinking about like, what have I done? Where am I going? What am I going to do? What will I leave behind? And no, I'm not dying, but I'm just saying, I start to think about that. I've got 4 precious little grandsons, and I won't see them be 30, 40, or 50 years old. I wish I would, unless there's some great new peptide that comes out. And if there is, I'll be on it. But the reality is, what are you going to leave behind? And so one of the things that I will leave behind is this book. So I need a subtitle. It is the parable of 2 mothers, okay? Martha and Leona. Leona's the lioness. Leona ain't afraid. She's going to say it. She's going to do it. Leona's a lot like me. Martha is the one who, she plays it safe. Now, both of these women are equally amazing in the fact that they have the same kind of values. They love their country. They love their family. They love everything. They love everybody. And so I work in the stories of the women in my life that have inspired me. Oh, I need a subtitle. Okay. And so I'm making sure here, I'm just toddling back and forth. Okay. I think like if somebody will tell me like you can see me or whatever, when I do this, I want to read you guys the prelude. And I hope if somebody catches this later on the replay that you'll help me. When I say I'm stuck, I'm stuck. Because I will tell you why I originally wrote this book. I wrote this, and I'm going to lose half of you. I get it. But you guys know me enough now to know that you can love me, that I'm conservative. And if you don't, then you can hate watch me. I think that's what they call it, hate watching. But you don't need to hate me, okay? I don't hate you. So anyways, I wrote the book originally after President Trump won the election. Fair and square. We had a normal transition of power. And I thought, okay, I'm finally free to talk again. I have felt very silenced and canceled and all of the above. And I know a lot of my friends have too. Again, I'll probably lose half of you on that one. But again, I don't hate you. So you can hate watch, but don't hate me. And so I want to write this book, and I want it to be kind of my manifesto. Well, I wrote the book, and then I got into it. And excuse me, I didn't write the whole book right after that. I started it, and then I got, and I had a lot of my conservative friends. Oh my God, Lacey, you got to write this book. It's great. La, 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 la. Well, and then I kind of got like busy. I'm always busy, if you guys know that about me. And so I kind of put it on the shelf. And then Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And I'm like, that's it. The book's coming out. The book is coming out. And I'm dedicating it to Charlie. And it's not Charlie the man as much, although I'm a big fan of Charlie's and have been for years. I've supported TPUSA. I love what he does for students, or what he did, I should say. I'm not sure that I agree with the direction the company's going in now, but I very much agreed with it when Charlie was at the helm. And I believe that he believed in civil discourse, and he believed in good debate. And so do I. I've got friends who don't agree with me, and I don't agree with them. And the ones that I'm the best friends with are the ones where we can sit down and have a glass of wine. I'm like, okay, you go, and then I'm going to go. And then you go, and then I'm going to go. And we just have a great conversation. And there have been times that I have changed my mind on subject matter. I'm never going to flop sides, and they're never going to flop sides, but we can civilly agree to disagree. And that was one of the things that I really, really liked about Charlie Kirk. And I feel like he did a lot of good work in students on campuses, because I think that students really stay pretty confused. I'm super happy that I get to co-teach a class in the Mary Hardin Baylor Business School. I'm very grateful for that in Belton. Dr. Janet Oliver, she's the best. And she allows me to say what I want to say. Like, there's nothing about them that quiets me. And I'm not there to indoctrinate anybody, just for the record. We're talking about my book, Crushing Mediocrity, mine and Renee's book. But I get to have like really honest conversations with students. And it's a small class, so it's at a small level, but it's so many times I'm in class and I think, this is what Charlie got to do. Because they don't always agree with me. I don't expect him to. I need him to think. I need them to come with their own opinions. I need to tell them what my experiences were. And if I could do it over again, what would I do differently? That's building legacy. Okay, I say all that to say, I'm going to come back over here and check and just make sure I'm still live. I think I am. Okay, so now I want to read you guys the prelude to my book. And when you hear this, and if I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at the screen and I'm reading, just so you know that. I'm trying to be tricky here. I think it's going to work. This is the opening. Well, the first opening is, and I will really cry if I read this to you guys, but the dedication is, I dedicate this book to my family. We are not perfect. We've had several hard seasons and beautiful ones. We have disagreed. We've laughed until we've cried. We've prayed through storms and held on to each other when life felt heavy. But through it all, we have loved deeply, and that love is the greatest gift of my life. Anyways, I can't read anymore because I will cry my eyes out, but it's dedicated to my family, my husband, my 2 children, and my 4 grandsons. And really, I talk about that piece about, I want those grandkids to have it someday, you know? And anyways, that's just too emotional for me. So, prelude. There comes a moment in every generation when silence isn't peace anymore and becomes betrayal. When waiting feels like complicity and history itself leans in and whispers, it's your turn. That moment is now. My moment is now. I know not everyone who reads this book will agree with me, but this is my story and my perspective. And my sincere prayer is that once you have finished the book, you will have honed your story and be ready to stand up and share it with your family, friends, and your community and the world. I believe in civil discourse. I love a good debate. How boring the world would be without it. I want to empower you to create the narrative and have the courage to share it out loud. That's why Roar of Faith exists. Now that's going to change, guys, because the name of the book has changed, and I'll tell you why later. I have spent 60 years on a journey. I have fought some tough fights, failed publicly, and won some great battles. But through it all, I never lost sight of what I believed, and I've always lived those beliefs out loud, and now I'm ready. Excuse me, I have not always lived those beliefs out loud, but now I'm ready. I'm ready to rise up and build an army of other lionesses who love what this great country of ours offers to ourselves and to our families. I love America. I have lived the American dream, and I'm ready to defend it. I want this for my children, my grandchildren, and my great-grandchildren. I will not be in a uniform on the front lines of a foreign war, but I'm prepared to be on the front lines of this culture war that the next generation is being faced with. Who's with me? Our beloved country, the red, white, and blue, we grew up pledging allegiance to, faces the enemy we can't see, but everyone can feel. Not an army, not a foreign war, but a war of values, a war against the very things that once held us together: God, love of country, and family. If you guys are just now tuning in, I'm reading you the preface for my new book, Lioness, and I'm looking for a tagline. Okay, so if you're tuning in like, what the heck is she talking about? I'm reading right now, just so you know. Let me get back to it. America's on the edge of something fragile and fierce, and the soul of this nation is being fought for, not by politicians, but by mothers and grandmothers who refuse to look away while freedom fades. The question is, are you willing to rise and roar with faith, with courage, with urgency, or will you stand aside and watch as the world your children's children inherit crumbles before your eyes? The parable of 2 mothers will help you decide. So the 2 mothers, guys, it's the parable of 2 mothers weaved in with my people's stories. So the parable of 2 mothers, we have Martha. She is the fearful mother. She doesn't cause problems. Maybe she should just be quiet. I don't want my daughter to be targeted. Keep the peace. Don't stand out. Be agreeable. Then there's Leona. She's the brave mother. I can't stay silent. This isn't right. I will fight for my daughter's rights. I'll speak the truth. I'll stand out and I'll be bold. And the question of the book is, y'all, which mother are you? And both of them are okay. Just know that. I want to empower Martha to become Leona. Okay, that was really the premise of the book. And I got more to read to you, but I'm kind of cliff noting it to you. That's why I wrote the book. I want women over 50. It's really geared to women over 50, to not be quiet, not be fearful, to stand up, stand out, and do what it's going to take, in my opinion, to save our country. In every generation, there comes two kinds of mothers, those who bow their heads to fear and those who lift their voices to truth. One preserves comfort, the other preserves freedom. This is the story of two such mothers, Martha, who stayed silent, and Leona, who chose to rise and roar. Martha and Leona both loved their families, their children, and their country. Both saw the same shadows stretching across their communities, schools teaching confusion instead of truth, voices silenced by fear, and culture that mocked faith and patriotism as relics of another time. They both wanted to do what's right. They both loved God, and they both loved freedom. But when the moment came to speak, to stand, to choose, only one mother remembered that silence. Martha, the fearful mother. Martha believed in decency, in God, in the Constitution, but she also believed in staying out of the fray. Like any mother, she wanted the best for her children, her friends, and those who, she wanted the best for her children, friends who welcomed them, classrooms where they belonged, a life that felt normal and safe. She wanted her daughter to be liked, to fit in, to move through school without being singled out or excluded for her beliefs. So Martha told herself that peace was found in politeness and pleasing others. The good woman didn't make waves. That love meant keeping the temperature low and the edges soft. She believed that staying quiet was a form of protection and that the controversy was something strong families avoided, not confronted. When her daughter came home from school, she told Martha that her teacher could no longer, she told Martha that her teacher said she could no longer wear Jesus Loves You t-shirt because it was too polarizing. Martha had seen it before. Children who held conservative values were quietly told to stop. You can't say this. You can't believe this. You can't wear that. Your conservative group can't meet on campus, all in the name of not upsetting others. Martha knew she was raising a daughter well. She was instilling strong values, faith, and character. Her daughter was a great young lady, kind, respectful, involved in groups like FCA and Young Conservatives. But in the silence that followed her daughter's words, Martha felt her chest tighten as thousands of fears rushed in at once. She thought to herself, what is the right thing to do? I don't want my daughter to be disliked or bullied. Is it really worth the trouble over one t-shirt? Haven't we all been there, ladies? Haven't we all been there where we have been silenced for what we believe, or, should I wear that, or should I do that, or is it worth the fight? Okay. And I've made enemies over the years. I'm a fighter. I always have been. I always will be. I stand up. I just do. That's why I'm writing the book. But I know a lot of amazing women that are very dear friends of mine. They're like, girl, why do you take a side politically? Why do you stand? Why don't you just be quiet? It's going to hurt your business. It's going to cost you friendships. And I'm like, because it's who I am. It's the way God wired me, because I love my country more than I love my own personal comfort. I mean, that's the truth. Okay, so that's a little bit about Martha. I'm not going to read you everything there, but I'm going to get into Leona, the courageous mother. Okay, so there's more behind that chapter of Martha. But Leona, the courageous mother, across town lived another mother, fierce, faithful, and unafraid to love God and her country out loud. They called her Leona, the Lioness, because she was strong and she was steady and she wasn't afraid to speak her truth. And when she spoke, truth had weight. Love that line. Leona saw the same darkness creeping in. She saw the same schools confusing children, the same culture silencing believers, the same cancel mobs roaring online, and she felt fear too. But she took it to God, even to the streets. But she was not letting anyone silence her. She spoke up even when it wasn't popular or politically correct. She's a fighter, and everyone knew it. That conviction was powerful. And when she walked in power. Leona saw, okay, I'm sorry, here we go. She believed her children needed mental and spiritual clarity more than emotional comfort. She also believed in leading by example. She wanted her children to see firsthand what courage looks like so that they could grow up strong and courageous. So when her daughter came home and asked her, Mom, my professor just signed me a paper. What does it mean to be a good American? She didn't stop there. She lowered her voice and added, he's liberal. If I write what I actually believe, I could get a lower grade. Leona didn't minimize it. She didn't tell her to play safe or soften the truth. She understood exactly what was being asked of her daughter, to trade conviction for approval. She looked at her and said, then you tell the truth anyway. You write it clearly and you write it well. You say exactly what you think and believe, and if it costs you of something, then we'll face that together. Her daughter nodded, trusting her mother's confidence, knowing there was only one way forward. So anyways, that just gives you a little bit of what this book's about. So I open it up with setting the table. Let's say that, setting the table for who Leona and Martha are. Okay. They're both amazing women. And trust me, I have been a Martha many times in my life because I'm like, I'm not up for the battle. All right. And that's why this book, and that was probably in my 30s and 40s. And that's where I felt so strong about this book, because when we're 50, women have more power than you think you do. And a lot of them are Leonas. Like lots of my friends are Leonas. Like I think of the biggest Leona I know next to me is Rebecca Contreras. And it's fun because when she and I go head to head, it is explosive, but we love each other. And we, so I like, so the biggest, Leona that I know besides me is Rebecca Contreras. So Beck, I hope you're watching this. I'm going to see you a little bit later today, but there comes a lot with being a Leona. Trust me. Again, you alienate people. They don't talk to you. It's a lot. Okay. It's a lot. But what I believe is that when you get to be a certain age, you have to stand for something or your family will fall for anything. And I do think we are at a crisis in our country. And I'm not talking about politics. I don't even want to talk about politics. I want to talk about what is happening in the culture, where these kids are so confused and, the furries and I'm not going to go there. I'm not here to put anybody down or to say anything. I'm just here, like I say in the beginning of my book, is to tell my truth and to tell what I have lived and at a high level sometimes experienced. And there have been times that I've had to either go forward and fight or I've retracted. So I do believe that we go in and out of being Martha and Leona all the time. I don't so much anymore. At this point in my life, I'm like, I got nothing to lose. Nothing. Like, what are you going to do? Take away my birthday? That would be the worst thing in my life right now. I want to live to be 100. So I don't want anybody to take away my birthday. But other than that, you're not going to silence me on what I believe is right for our country, our culture, my city, my state, my children, my grandchildren. Like, I'm ready to fight if you mess with them. And a story, my friends. And so my team, I think about it, like, people, when I ask people, I'm like, okay, if you have to like sum me up, they'll always say you are insanely loyal. Like, talk about one of my friends, talk about one of my teammates, man, you're bringing me to the fight. Okay. You're bringing me to the fight, and you better come with more than a knife, because with me, it'll be a gunfight. Okay. And is that good and bad? Sometimes it's not good. Sometimes it's not good. I've had to learn to adjust that in personal relationships, aka marriage, because I'm not one to back down when I think I'm right. So I will tell you who I've learned a lot from about in that department. Oh, my hair is kind of trash right now. In that department is I have learned it from Elena Cardone. Guys, she's a communication expert. If you don't follow her, you should. And she, as much as I love her, but what she has taught me about relationships, not having to win. I mean, imagine being married to Grant Cardone. It's a lot. And I love him. He's like my brother. So I love him dearly, but it's a lot. Okay. And so, and I'm sure I'm a lot. And so I think that that's why she attracts to me and her and I get along so well. I think she's told me before, you're like the female Grant. So anyways, all of that being said, like I own it. And that's why I wrote this book. Here, I'm going to read you guys some more. Please be thinking about a subtitle. Okay. So I am going to get off of the background of Martha and Leona right now. So I'm going to go into another piece called The Lesson. 2 mothers, 2 choices, 2 legacies. Martha chooses silence and lost her peace. Leona chose courage and passed on courage. The battle for a nation's soul doesn't start in Congress or cable news. Its strength doesn't live in the marble halls or the signed documents. It lives in the heart of its people, in the mothers who choose conviction over comfort, mothers deciding whether to whisper or to roar. And that's why I wanted originally to call the book Roar of Faith. The problem is that I am a Christian. I talk about God 1,000,000%, but I didn't want it to fall into the Christian book category because it's a bigger message than that. This is for all women. This is for women everywhere. This is for American women and French women and British women and Canadian women. It's for everybody. It is for women of other faiths. So anyways, again, my book, my perspective. So that's why I pulled back on the Roar of Faith. It's going in as Lioness. I mean, guys, all my branding is Lioness, so of course. So this parable is for every woman standing at the crossroads of fear and faith, silence and truth. You don't need a stage to stand on or a title to make you important or a microphone to amplify your voice. You need a spine of conviction, a heart of compassion, and a love for God, family, and freedom, and the courage to step forward. Love your God out loud. Love your country without shame. Speak truth even when your voice shakes, because one day your children will ask you what you did when the world tried to silence the truth. May your answer be simple and strong. I stood, I spoke, I rose, I roared. So I ask again, which mother are you today, and which one of those will you become? On the day, and if you're just now tuning in or catching the replay, I am reading pieces of my book, Lioness, and I'm looking for a subtitle. I'm hoping somebody gets inspired and sends me a message. I'm just going to read this last part and then I'll jump off the book here for a minute. But on the day the world witnessed the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a young man shot down in broad daylight while speaking truth to the next generation, I decided that I would live fully as Leona every day. No more backing down, no more staying silent, no more. That day, silence and hesitation lost their grip on me. It was as if God himself drew a line in the sand and said, it's time to write this book. It's time to awaken the lionesses and prepare them for battle. I literally couldn't shake the feeling. It wasn't audible, but it was so deep inside of me that I could feel it in my bones. I locked myself away, guys, for 7 days, and I started this manuscript. Someday, I hope I can put into words what seeing Charlie publicly assassinated did to me. I still can't. I can't even. To see this young man, this father, this husband silenced was life-changing. Although I did not know Charlie personally, I had met him a couple of times. I had followed him and supported Turning Point USA for almost 10 years. I was always in awe of how he led those young people and how they trusted his voice, how he could have civil discourse even with the most difficult people. I watched him ignite a young base and help deliver the election to Donald J. Trump. And this is how the story ends. I cried for days on the phone with many people, and we literally couldn't speak. I'd be on the phone with my friends. We get on the phone and just be silent. We can't talk. We just can't talk right now. And then we would just cry. So I'm off the book. I'm sorry. Here we go. We would just cry. The world is full of evil, and I believe that as Christians, we are the light. Charlie, this book's for you. You inspired me. You inspired an entire generation. The Lioness Coalition will do everything in our power to keep your message moving forward. I believe you're in heaven, looking down and still supporting your movement in so many ways. You are still raising leaders, and I count myself in that group. You awakened this lioness and fueled the Lioness Coalition movement. Rest easy. We will never stop. The season of silence is over. Waiting quietly for the right moment to speak and step up as Christians is no longer faithfulness, but surrender. I choose to rise, to speak, and to fight for what still matters: God, family, and the future of our children, grandchildren, and our nation. In the chapters that follow, I take you on a journey through the 12 roars of the Lioness, 12 divine fires that will move you from Martha to Leona. And if you're ready to be, and if you're already a Leona, these pages will fan that flame within you until it roars brighter, bolder, and without shame. So chapter 1, the first roar, is finding your voice. 2 is stand tall, step forward. 3, why country matters. 4, building a legacy that outlives you. 5, the power of uncompromising women. 6, when the roar becomes a war. I did think about that for my subtitle, by the way. Number 7, the cost of staying awake. Number 8, raising cubs. Number 9, the Leona economy. Number 10, a fortress filled with Leonas. Number 11, when Leonas enter the public square. And number 12 is finding your Leona. All right, so that's a lot. And the book's 188 pages. I mean, it's a novel, right? So anyways, I wanted to put that out there. This is the first time I've read anything publicly to anybody. I'm very excited to launch this book. I've had a lot of rewrites on it because I've had a lot of new thoughts, new information. I literally locked myself in the room the week after Charlie was assassinated. And so that was 6 months ago, almost 7 months ago. Yeah, God, today's the last day of the month. So in 10 days, it'll have been 7 months. A lot of new information came about. A lot of new things came about. And so I changed my opinion. You know, it's something Megyn Kelly taught me, is that when you get new information, you have to form a new opinion. So there have been people added to the book, deleted from the book, ideas in the book, out of the book. I decided not to make it as political as I thought I was going to make it, because, you know, I'm not going to win. I'm not going to win the hearts of women if it's a book about politics. And so, because the book is really not about that, it is about standing in your power. I don't care if you're a Republican or you're a Democrat or you're an independent or you are a Catholic or you are Jewish or you are Muslim or you are Christian. I mean, it doesn't matter, ladies. There are no women that start wars. Okay. There's no women, or there's no woman that's ever started a war, maybe biblically, but actually the women in the Bible ended the wars. The only way I think that this planet is going to survive, and the only way that I think that our children have a chance in hell, and that our country stands strong, is if the women rise up, if the Leonas rise up. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've never done anything like this before. And I really hope that, so the book will be out soon. It's, in fact, my publishers right now are texting me. They really wanted me to get it out before midterm elections. It didn't happen. Again, just too much new information. And you'll understand when you read the stories in the book. You'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. New information, things have changed, things have shifted, whatever. So anyways, but the goal is it'll be on the shelves May 15th. That's the goal, May 15th. And I hope if you're catching this now that you'll go back and listen to it and just know what my heart is for the book. Again, my heart is not a battle, a political fight with anybody. It's not. My heart is to talk to every single woman, but I have to talk from my perspective or I'm not being authentic. All right. But understand, like I said in the book a couple of times, is that I love a good debate. I love discourse. I don't want everybody to be like me. God help us if they were, right? I love friends that bring to me different perspectives, right? I feel like that isn't what we need to worry about as women. What we need to worry about as women is how are we going to come together and empower our children to stand up and not let this culture that has been created over the last 10 or 15 years destroy the spirits of our children. And I kind of take it to when our children all got masked in school. I just do. You know, they silenced them. They put masks on their faces. They put an incredible amount of fear into these children. Like it's criminal. It's just criminal. And so anyways, not all of you are going to buy my book. I know that. And some of you who watch this are, you're going to hate watch it. And hate watching, if you don't know what that is when you watch something and you're like, I disagree with everything that person's saying, but I got to watch it anyways. It's almost like a train wreck, I have podcasts that are like that. I listen to podcasts where I hate the podcaster, hate him or her, but I listen. I'm like, oh, okay. Just because, you got to know. Yeah. If you got to know, you got to know. Okay. So anyways, thank you guys. If you're catching the replay, I'm looking for a subtitle. Now that I've read to you what the book's about, like I'm so stuck on this subtitle because I have Elena Cardone in there quite a bit. And I talk about her book, How to Build an Empire, and her subtitle, right? Her and I talked about it yesterday, How to Have It All. Okay. So like you pick up that book. I want to build an empire. I want to have it all. Like, right. So the 2 words in that book make you pick up the book and buy it. And then of course, who the author is, Elena Cardone. She has built an empire and she does have it all. So like, there's so much credibility in the whole thing. Makes sense? So anyways, okay, guys, thanks for listening to me. Thanks for letting me read my book to you. I appreciate it. I'll be coming to you more now that I know I can do this and reading you some of the stories of some of the people that are in my book, because the stories are phenomenal. And these are all women of all kinds of women that have overcome, that have faced incredible adversity. And there is a lot of diversity in there too, by the way. But they have survived a lot of adversity, and they had a decision to make. They were either going to back down and be silent and just take it the rest of their lives, or they were going to rise up and roar. Okay. And these are the women that rised up and roared. And many of them are personal friends of mine. And that's why I think they're like some of my best friends, because they're lionesses and I have wild, mad respect for them. So I'm happy to be able to tell their story. And so anyways, all right, you guys, I love you. Thank you. I appreciate you. And for all you hate watchers out there, I don't hate you. So don't hate me. It's okay to be different. It's okay to have a different, philosophy or whatever. So talk soon. Bye. Bye, guys.